Yeah, oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to 100.9 FM. This is KWTN, the Big Voice Radio. You are listening to another episode of The Show. The Show. Hey, this is your host, Coach Q is in the house. Also right here.
Who's in the house?
Who is in the house?
B-Luv's in the house. What's up, everybody?
B-Luv is in the house. Hey, B-Luv. Hey, man, we got another week coming in, man. Last week we had a really good show. You know, we talked about this earlier, that had a really good show. We had Natasha Dillon here. You know, she graduated from Peru State, or she's graduating from Peru State after her teaching things that she's got to do. But she came back and told her story, man. I really enjoyed listening to her. Kind of told us how she kind of been growing up since she got out of high school, you know.
Sure.
And she was a pretty darn good basketball player for our high school basketball team, you know. Made it to state tournament and got a dub down the state tournament, you know.
Fourth place finish, I believe.
Fourth place, and then represented the Winnebago community really well. And then I kind of went out and, you know, did her thing. You know, went to college. Is currently getting her degree. Played 4 years of basketball, you know, and she told her whole story about the education part and the sports part. So really enjoyed that story. So you know. If Natasha, if you're listening, thank you for coming in and sharing your story with us last week. It was a real good story. And if you guys missed that, make sure and go back to our archives on the Big Voice Facebook page and YouTube and check it out. Check it out. Right. B-Luv. We got a special guest. We've been waiting to get this guy on the mic, get him in the studio for the last couple of years. He's been busy, can never kind of get him in here, but he's finally home. But he's back here to give us some time. He's going to be a busy guy this summer. But ladies and gentlemen, Mr. David Winget Jr. is in the house.
What's up? How's it going?
David, he just got done finishing up his first year,
rookie year
as a professional basketball player over in league over in Portugal, and he's going to tell us all about that. I know that I have a lot of questions. B-Luv, I know you got a lot of questions. Yeah. And I think DJ Besseme's going to hop on and she's going to throw out some questions too. We have a whole hour, so you know I want to kind of get into it right away. But first of all, B-Luv, do you have any early shout outs? Any grandkids? Any grandkids you want to give shout outs to?
All of them, I can sit here all day and talk about that. No, but I actually got the three daughters, our granddaughters. They're playing down in Lincoln this weekend, so I just want to wish them good luck.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Well, I'm just gonna give a shout out to all the youth baseball and softball players. You know, Whirling Thunder has provided a few teams this year up in the leagues up in the city, and the kids are all up there having fun. We actually have the 10 years and under girls softball team that I coach. We have a game tonight at 7:30, so after the show I got a dip. But you know, there's a lot of our native teams that are playing up in the leagues. They're not. There's a lot of there's some teams up there that are playing softball still at the slow pitch, but Winnebago got our girls in the fast pitch now. So hopefully amongst one of these girls coming up, that maybe we can find somebody who's gonna be our first athlete to get a softball scholarship. You know,
might be down to Oklahoma.
Oh man, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah. So I want to give a shout out to all the youth softball players out there and the coaches for putting in their time. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, just so you know, I think we're still going to try to get Diami Barrage on the show too. This summer to kind of come and tell us his story too about his recent graduation and all that too. So
another busy youngster.
Yeah. So hey, let's get into it then. So David, I want to say thank you for coming up here, giving us some time. You know, me and you got to chop it up just a little bit. You know, since you've been back, but I was kind of telling you I wanted to wait to ask you these questions and hear some of these stories for the show, you know? And so that's what we're here to do tonight. And I want to say thank you because there's a lot of people out here that are all wondering what you've been up to, you know, not just here in our community, but I know that KWTN, we reach all over this tri-state area right here. and there's probably over 100,000 people out there that are possible listeners out there. You know,
Well, even Indian country too. We got we got a lot of friends and relatives all around Indian country that follow too. So and they're all asking too. How's your nephew doing? How's he doing? And only thing we can say is he's holding it down. He's doing what he has to do over there.
Yeah, and then social media. There's a lot of people from different tribes that followed Winnebago basketball, not just during the state championship run, but the years that you were in high school. So a lot of people out there, a lot of people that are out there wondering. Even I told you a story that poker dealer down in Las Vegas was asking about you too, and he was from Nebraska, and it's a small world, but you get that when you're kind of well known like that. So it made me feel proud, being near Dega and stuff like that, but made me happy for you that that your name's out there like that too. Kind of.
Well, he blew up he went to Vegas. He blew up Vegas out there in the basketball tournament before too.
Yeah.
Did you get flown out there? Someone fly you out there to go play one time in a tournament out there?
Yeah, when I played for B-Luv's Elite in high school, AAU team, they'd fly me all over.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, so I mean, I don't even know where to start. With this interview, because I want to know so much about what you did this past year, but I also we want to know what you've been or how you got there,
Right.
Because a lot of people, they don't know the story. So let's start from the beginning.
Let's start back in the Memphis days, because like I said, I have some people asking, about him too, and they all ask, what happened in Memphis? How come we didn't write it out down there and stuff like that? So, I just, I didn't really want to get into detail or anything like that, but I just said, he just.
Well, I know that hardly anybody knows like the inside scoop.
Well, we should start at when I went to prep school in North Carolina.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Give him the mic.
Hey, we're just gonna hand the mic over to you, Dave. We're just chopping it up, man. We want to know. We want to know, and so do the people. All right.
Yep. So, I'll just go to high school. I think out of high school I had like South Dakota State, North Dakota, Texas Rio Grande Valley. Those were my offers out of high school, and I could have took those, but I decided I wanted more. I was just young and wanted to go get more. Felt like I could go get more offers, so I went to North Carolina. Didn't really know what to expect. Being a prep school, you don't hear about prep schools around here anyways, so it was just like a year after high school playing basketball. Like I wasn't in college yet, but like I was still out of high school,
Recertified, is that what they call that?
It wasn't even that, really.
Yeah.
It was just, postgraduate of high school, just playing against other people out there, because there's like a lot of prep schools out there that just play against each other. But it's North Carolina, so the competition was pretty good. Then I just, shot the ball like crazy over there. Ended up making an AAU team over there called Team Loaded, which is a pretty big deal for me at the time. It was another step that I was, kind of manifesting the whole time, because that's what I went out there for, was more opportunity, and I got that. Went into summer ball AAU, and one of our starters got hurt. I was a starter too, but he was a guy that got a lot of shots, and he got hurt, and we was in Atlanta that weekend playing, and I just got more shots the next few games, and I performed. And I mean, within those 2 games, that got me like 60 offers.
Okay.
Just like, I never posted it on social media, but like, it was just so much I couldn't even, keep track of. The phone was just ringing the whole after that weekend. So,
was that the weekend you put up a 50 spot on somebody?
I don't think so. I didn't score that much in AAU.
Someone told me
that was during the season. This was during the summer. But that season I had a 50 ball. So all those offers came roaring in. I was looking through the ones I wanted to, check out, make a visit or whatever. It was like Auburn, Arkansas, and Memphis. And my first visit was to Memphis, and, it was Penny, Mike Miller, Sam Mitchell. Those guys just, I couldn't say no. I was just young, and all the flashy stuff, the NBA guys, I just had to go. So I committed there. Went there. It was, just going there to that biggest school, it's kind of shocking. I showed up for summer workouts, and, I was like, this is it. Here, such a big university, the fan base, and just everything around it, like it's just so big,
Then,
you know.
then it was it Penny's first year too?
Yeah.
Yeah, Penny's first
So
year.
he probably brought even more of that culture that was out there,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like waiting for something to happen in Memphis. He drew all those guys in too to make it huge. And it's still huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because they said like Memphis basketball was kind of dying out until Penny came, and so
Yeah.
all the eyes just were on the team, and it was a crazy experience. Just being there. I tried to work the hardest. I was in the weight room more than anybody else, and that year my body just really filled out and got big. And then season started. That's when I broke my lower leg, just right at the start of the season. In practice at that too. So
You was about 4 games in? Or you got?
I think it was 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
I remember your first game when you got in, and we were all sitting around. I think it was floating around on Facebook for a while too, and everybody's sitting around when you got in, and your first like 30 seconds, you already got a steal and a breakaway dunk.
yeah.
You guys play at LSU? Or who was that?
Tennessee Tech.
Tennessee Tech.
Yeah. That was the first game.
Yeah.
It was crazy because I dunked it, and dunk, everybody gets loud and stuff, but I came in, everybody expected me to just be a shooter. So when I did get the dunk, the whole crowd just went. I was expecting noise, but when it got loud, I was just like, whoa.
Worse than us
yeah.
when
Yeah.
worse when you was in high school back then. In the state
Yeah,
tournament?
because Memphis, they played in the Grizzlies
Oh,
arena, so
yeah.
it was just packed.
Oh wow.
NBA arena, so that was awesome.
I remember
cool.
he was expected to be a shooter. Remember preseason? He was, I don't know what it was. He won that 3-point
Oh,
contest
yeah.
amongst the squad and everything like that.
Yeah.
And that was televised too. We watched that too.
Yeah.
That was pretty
That
awesome.
was awesome too. That was sweet.
That's very cool.
But I mean, just got injured, and being that far away from home was really tough for me. I stuck it out, stayed, as professional as I could throughout the rest of the season. But after that, just decided I want to come closer to home. Then it was a tough recruiting process, just being so late in the summer and stuff. And I ended up taking a visit to South Dakota State, and I already knew the coach and some of the guys there. So to me it was 2 hours away from home, so
Yeah.
had to go there. But that was just a great experience too. That first year I didn't start till like maybe middle season, and then started. We won regular season that year too,
That's right.
but we lost first round of conference tourney because Doug Wilson he broke his foot right before the tournament.
Oh, man.
So and we still should have won, but I mean, you get a guy out like that. That's just tough to play through.
He's the one that came in as a junior college player of the year at one time, and okay,
He's All-American,
yeah,
and they won the Natty that year.
that's right.
But I mean, the rest of the 2 years there, just kind of, I got COVID because I was starting that second year, and I got COVID before the second year season started. Like those 14 days before the first game, I got COVID. So then you had to sit out. You had to like isolate for 14 days.
Yeah, that's when it first came out. Yeah.
So when I came back, it was the first day, and I didn't practice, do nothing. So I lost my starting spot. And you know who that was to?
Baylor.
Yeah.
Oh, Baylor Sharman.
We both said,
Baylor Sharman, ladies and gentlemen, is he's saying that because he got his first season done with the Boston Celtics this past year.
yeah.
That's crazy.
But he played a few years up there, made some all conference teams, and then he transferred down to Creighton,
Yeah.
and he was helping Creighton in the where'd they go, Sweet 16?
Oh, they did good last year.
Yeah, I think they went to Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn, Dave.
Yeah. And I mean,
Damn COVID.
But I mean,
they
you
didn't have masks up there for you guys.
But I mean, you get a guy like Baylor place you. I just, I stayed with it, like I always say, stayed professional about it, kind of lost my starting spot, but, if it's to anybody, Baylor is, the guy, I have utmost respect for him just because, he works, he's a good dude, and, he deserves it too. But we end up winning regular season. I mean, regular season we won all 3 years I was there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Regular
Yeah.
season, and then that last year, we end up winning the conference tourney finally. But the second year, the conference tourney, we played Oral Roberts in the semifinals, and that was the year they went to, what was that, Elite Eight or something?
Yeah.
Sweet
Yep.
16.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we lost on a tip-in buzzer beater. There's like half a second left.
Who didn't box out? Baylor.
I ain't gonna say that.
I ain't gonna say it. My bad.
I remember just kind of to add in while you're talking about SDSU right now. I remember sitting up one night and it was I didn't know you guys were playing and I was flipping through ESPN Plus and I saw that Jackrabbits are playing, so I went and checked it out, and I can't remember exactly how it went down, but a couple guys fouled out. You guys went in overtime or double overtime or something like that. A couple guys fouled out, and I even posted, it's the perfect chance, a perfect opportunity for the GOAT to get this win or something like that. And then you got a and one buzzer beater or something like that towards the end.
Yeah.
Oh man,
That was your first season there, wasn't it?
First year,
Yeah, I thought that was
that was like
I remember I was in my room jumping around late at night.
Came just flooring.
I called it.
Hey, you know what? No, that was a good call. That he did call it because I remember your post.
Yeah.
You also know what else you called on the post?
This guy here. I don't know what you're talking about.
You want to refresh your memory?
What are you talking about?
Jason Tatum. He got mad at Jason Tatum. You remember that? Here, 10 minutes after that, he ripped his leg up. Man, what's his black cat? Boy,
This guy here. All right, let's change the subject.
hey, don't count out the thing too, Dave. That you guys you talk about Oral Roberts going that far. Was it your last year there? You guys made it to the tournament too, right?
Yep. So when you're at a mid-major, you got to win the conference tourney to make the big dance. So we finally won it that last year, and we played. What was it? I always forget because I always want to say Georgetown, but Providence, and they were a good team, but I think that came down to the end too. I think Doug contested a 3. That guy kicked his leg out, foul, made his free throws, and it was over. But just that experience alone, being at the tournament, being down there on the floor, we was an early morning game, get out there on the floor, it looks like, middle of the day, people are just, it was packed in there.
Yeah.
It was a crazy environment.
Wow.
Remember,
where was that at? Where was that?
Buffalo, New York.
Oh, okay.
And Aspen actually came out there and watched.
Oh yeah.
Because when you get player tickets, he asked me for tickets, so I put his name in for tickets. There's a player section, so all the parents are sitting there and stuff. And I remember starting lineups. I was sitting there, kind of looking for Aspen. Start saying names. I look over. He's just coming down the stairs. He's like smiling. I was like, "Oh, he made it."
Man, that's good though.
Yeah, that was nice. That was cool.
First round of the thing. Another black cat come running down the steps. Hey, that
guy. Blamed Aspen. Shouldn't be supportive here.
That Aspen running point for you guys. I think wouldn't hurt nothing.
I remember it was like one of your guys' first games in January at SDSU when you went up there. I took a group of boys up, Warpath boys up to, two groups of boys up, two teams up for a tournament that was going on at your guys' campus in the rec center. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I think the girls' game was going on, or a JV game or something like that. And then they, the tournament was going on all day, and then the tournament took a break for 3 or so hours, so all the kids can go watch you guys' game.
Oh yeah.
And so I remember bringing those groups up, and man, those boys right now, those guys are all juniors and seniors now this year. So that's how long you've been.
I remember that because I remember we did something and I went to the rec and watched, I think, Ashton's game or something.
Yeah.
He's a beast. He's a beast now.
Yeah, and that group of boys, we're going to talk about them at the last part of the show right here. This guy, every time this guy, we're going to talk about those guys. But anyway, hey, so SDSU, you guys went out that last year. you guys went out to Buffalo, New York to play the first round of the NCAA tournament, which was, I think everybody here was watching. You know, even if they just see SDSU somewhere, you know, people turn TV on. I remember even sitting at like Applebee's and stuff like that. But hey, turn that station over there, you know, just try to get a game on or something. Like that.
Yeah.
And then they have a lot of SDSU gear up here at Shields in Sioux City. So if you wanted to get some, you know, a lot of people around here probably graduated.
I think go up to the other side of like Sioux Falls. They got a bunch of stuff up there too.
Yeah.
No man sizes though. We have to walk around with half shirts.
You do.
Maybe.
Yours look like a halter top.
Yours is like a sports bra.
Like a sports bra. It says S.
Peak.
Yeah. So hey, let's move on from SDSU then. So I remember that there was some decisions being made in the off season or before the season was over. So why don't you guys take us through that and let us know where you ended up?
Yeah. So for me, I was it was just a position I was in to just, you know, I just wanted something new. You know, being there 3 years, we got, you know, 3 rings all 3 years. So for me, you know, I wanted something new, something where I had a different role in. And sometimes I feel like there's nothing wrong with that because, you know, if you're trusting yourself and, you know, there's something out there for you, you know, I transferred twice. So, you know, that's kind of my mindset. And it ultimately worked out for me because, you know, when I was deciding, you know, I had a lot of D2s, a lot of really good NAIs, but I was talking to my brother Matthew and he was like, well, I just talked to my old coach at Peru, and he said I got 2 more years left, so I'm going to just do those at Peru. He told me that one day, and I didn't really think too much of it, but as the process went on a little bit more, I started thinking about it a little more. I was like, well, it would be pretty cool to play with him for 2 years, you know, go to school together. So then I start talking to the coaches more and, you know, made my mind to do that, and it was still, you know, close to home. So, you know, a lot of those D2s were, you know, kind of far away, Florida, the better ones, stuff like that. So I made that decision, and then, you know, we end up doing really well that first year. I think we lost in the conference final of the tourney that year, but we still made the national tournament. We won 1 game, and then that second game we ended up losing, and then the second year we ended up getting that conference final, but then we didn't win one in the national championship. But I mean, just that experience, you know, being able to go through school and practice every day, compete and travel and do all those things with my brother Matthew, like, I mean, you just can't, it's priceless, really.
For sure. Yeah, I remember when that picture came out, and I think you posted it. The picture of you and Matt getting ready to go down there, and then the only thing we all kind of started thinking was like, oh man, that's cool, because that's where the mom went to college at for when she was down and played volleyball back in 1913 or something, whatever it was. But yeah, so it was like, oh man, that's cool that they're gonna go to their mom's alma mater and go try to finish up. Then just play together like that. We thought it was cool. I should have made a lot more of you guys again, but the games I just seen you guys play, I was impressed. So I was like, all right, so let's get those guys in there then. I know what was up with that hairdo, though. Was that with the man bun you had back then?
I tried a couple times throughout the years to just get it long, and there's always that phase where I just can't make it through. I'm like, man, I'm done with this, man. But I finally,
were you trying to look to get the long braid, like to do a braid, like a old native braid?
I got one. It was real short for graduation.
I was gonna say, back in the day, having that long hair like that, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Maybe, but sticking it out and coming back, that decision, I think just like B-Luv said, amongst family, amongst community, everybody was like, and everybody who knows like history of like our athletes and stuff, and know like your mom, everybody thought that was like the perfect idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I thought about it too. And then for you two to be playing together, that was even more priceless.
Then to be in that royal blue and white again too. That looked
man,
good.
and definitely made your mom feel great about that. Your mom was probably like, that was probably like the decisions, like, oh my God, you guys, thank you, that kind of thing. So, I'm glad you did that for her too. But before we move on from the college stuff and go on into this part that we was really asking about, about your last year and stuff over in Portugal, I wanted to kind of maybe say a few things about, for some of the young listeners, maybe share with us maybe something that you had to overcome, something that was difficult to overcome, that you ran into a speed bump, you might have thought, hey man, maybe this ain't for me, maybe I need to change, and then how you overcame that. I know there's probably many of them, going through the last 8 to 10 years, there are probably many times where you might have wanted just to come home, but how you stuck it out, that will that made you stick it out. Maybe kind of share with us something like that.
So it's gonna sound a little basic, but for me it was just the love of the game and being able to just have that laser focus, because when you're gone, it's you and whoever's around you can make phone calls or whatever, but you don't have that comfort to be there with someone that you've known your whole life and just be able to be around them. So when those problems always came, and I mean problems are always going to pop up, and no matter what you're doing, but just being away from home, family, and all that stuff, the love of the game just would always just take over and keep me going, because ultimately that's what I was always there to do. Wherever I went, that's what I was there to do. And really just when I would talk with my family members back here, my mom, dad, whoever, just be like, well, it's the same here, nothing's changing here.
That's
people are the same, everyone's doing the same thing. So, there was always that assurance for me, but when
that you ain't missing out on nothing.
Exactly, and I think that's really a really big part when people, kids go on or they're trying to go and do something, that they're just missing out on so much. And I feel that a lot, because my nephews and nieces, I want to be there, while they're growing up and stuff. But and at the end of the day, like a lot of decisions I made to go play, they were, you could say they're selfish decisions because it's for me and I'm going away from family, missing out on family time, but it's my decision. This is what I want to do, and you got to accept that you're doing this, you're here, you're doing that, and what I was doing was playing ball.
And then you got all your your nephews and nieces and everybody. They're all looking up to you for that, for you not being here. While we can watch his games, even though it's that early in the morning, we still can watch them. There's access to them to watch you play and watch you grow and watch you succeed at what you're doing. So you got these, your little nieces and nephews, you got to look at it like that too. You're doing it for yourself, but you got, these guys you're missing out on them growing up, here and there, but you also at the same time. Everybody's got phones. Everybody's got the thing in videos. You can watch games.
And just to piggyback off what B-Luv saying, like they are watching, and maybe it's not just like the niece and nephews, it's community kids too. They're all looking up to you. So if they see you, oh man, I can't do this, and you come back, then they're still watching you. Oh, he didn't finish. He didn't want to do that or something like that. So, but they see you, maybe overcome these things and continue on, doing these things, making your goals a little bit more every year, and they see that happening too. So, so they're happy that you're up there. So I guess just what you were saying about you're not missing nothing back here, and then if you did come back, they're probably wondering, hey, why aren't you out there? Something like that. So,
and we're not saying that you're not missing out on anything going on here. We're not saying that in a bad way, Winnebago. We're not saying that. All we're doing is just saying that everybody's got their own lives. We all work. We all go and raise our families and our kids and our grandkids. We're all doing what we're supposed to be doing here. And Dave's out doing what he was what he's good at, and he's
He set out
doing.
to do.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too. You know, because you know everybody in Winnebago is trying to make the place a better place. You know,
Yep.
think about when we was growing up back in the back in the 70s and the 80s. Back in the day, man, how Winnebago look here.
No, yeah.
You know, and how it looks now. You know, Winnebago's just trying to make it a better place. You know, so that's what's happening here. Is we're just continuing on,
We're continuing on. We're growing a little bit. But
and we're trying to be better, and we're trying to get better all the time. So,
Yeah. Yep.
so well, hey, let's. You want to go ahead? What was you gonna say?
I just got. We're jumping to this Portugal stuff. I just want to know before we even start. Did you catch any of the language, or was it tough for you to adapt to that?
I mean, a lot of the basic stuff in Portuguese is like Spanish. So already had like a lot of the basic stuff, but like past the basic stuff, I just couldn't do it. You know,
Yeah.
they would, you know, you can go on YouTube and listen to stuff and have all these apps to help you learn, but like when you're in front of a Portuguese person and they get to rambling and speaking, it's like,
You can't catch it. It's
that
too
is
fast.
not what I just heard on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That was one thing that I was worried about over here. I said, man, he's gonna starve over there. He ain't gonna know how to order nothing to eat, or he ain't gonna be able to read that stuff in the grocery store or something like that. Yeah, that's crazy.
One thing before he gets in the store though, but I did say he said a lot of the older Portuguese people like speak Portuguese, and a lot of the younger ones they do speak English over there.
Oh,
So
okay.
Yeah.
So he was like, okay.
yeah, so that's kind of that would help a little bit. you
Yeah,
know? So
yeah.
maybe
It wasn't terrible. They speak pretty good English over
Yeah.
there for the most part.
Your teammates and coaches speak English a little bit too.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
because they play with Americans every year and
Oh,
stuff. so-
okay. I was just say you learn how to say pass the ball in Spanish. I throw it up.
pass the ball and get out of the way. Well, hey, let's start from the beginning from this Portugal thing. Then I know that it was probably a long trip over there, you know, and I know that your mom was probably real sad to see you leave, but happy for you too at the same time. So go ahead and take me through that little part right there, because I wasn't there and I want to see if she cried.
You could probably guess the answer to that, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was a morning flight, so I kind of woke up really early. My grandma Mary ended up taking me, but yeah, there was definitely a little teary-eyed
Yeah.
for sure. But you know, I got to the airport, started my trip out of Omaha, went to Denver, was the first one, and then at Denver I had like two delays, so I was in Denver the whole day. And then at the end of the day they finally got me on a flight to Germany, Munich, and there got on the plane to Portugal, and then they said nope, nobody can fly, we've got to get off.
Wait, how long was that trip from? What did you say, Denver?
Denver to Munich.
That one was like, I can't remember, I know it was like at least 11.
How
Maybe.
many? And then how many other people were actually flying on that plane out there? Was there a lot of them?
Yeah, it was a full
was it?
full flight. Yeah.
And those are big old planes.
Yeah, there was a lot of people, but
Okay.
end up getting off our flight. Well, in Germany, we got on our flight, we loaded, and then they told everybody to get off, and this was already at like 1 a.m. So no people were working, nothing. So everybody was just stranded in the airport, didn't get rooms, nothing. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, man. I'm like, all right. So I get on the app, and you can talk to like whatever AI or something.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to them, trying to get a new flight. I'm like, oh, well, there's no flights to Porto for another 2 days out of Germany.
Wow.
So I'm like, I'm texting the team manager, I'm texting my agent. They're like, well, are people there working you can talk to? I'm like, no, everybody left for the night. Like, there's hundreds of people here without no help.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was just a lot of anxiety, and you know, I had to stay there. I slept at like one of the gates or whatever, just laid down on those benches. But that whole trip, I probably slept like 2 hours, even on the flights, you know. But I mean, I didn't stay there for 2 days. Like, I waited till the workers came back at like 6 or something, and they got me on a flight to like, it was like way down south in Portugal, but my team didn't want me to fly there because I'd have to get a train and they'd have to come get me from that.
Oh yeah.
But I ended up doing it, and that was like at noon the next day. So no sleep.
I know. I'm sitting there counting. Is that 2 or that 3 days?
Still,
Dave's like,
to
I don't
this
know.
day,
To this day, I have
it
no
felt
idea.
like 4 days, but I guess it was like 1.5.
Man.
But just no sleep though, and so I got to Portugal and then had to take a train, which was like 4-5 hours. They picked me up, got home at got there at like 1 a.m. and they was like, it was a tough flight out here, so you can miss the morning practice.
Oh,
I was
thank
like,
you.
all right. I was like, all right, cool.
Oh my gosh.
Slept in a little bit, made it to the evening practice and got it going. But just that starting out like that, I was like, all right, this is how it's going to go. You know?
I gotta say this because Auntie Jess been having some problems at the airlines too. Jess, I feel bad for you, but man, I feel bad for this guy here.
I swear when I got, to my apartment, I showered up. It's like, man, I'm losing hair, man.
Yeah.
Man, I'm stressed out
Yeah.
already.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, that goes to a question I got then. So, when you got there, did your own apartment? They provided housing for you? I mean,
Yeah, I didn't have no expenses out there, even down to the meals. The club had a restaurant for us that we got 2 meals a day. So, and I don't think they really eat breakfast out there, just lunch and dinner.
Wow. Well,
So
that's
that was
good.
oh yeah, that was nice for sure.
Well, that's good.
Okay, well, so we're to the point where you're getting out to Portugal. You finally get to practice stuff like that. You're getting settled in. Then that was gonna be the question too about the language thing, the language barrier. But you get to practice. You start meeting some guys or anybody out there that you met before in your experience playing ball, or is this a whole everybody just new faces?
Yeah, new faces, everybody. I talked to the coach like once or twice on the phone, but just that. But just getting out there, meeting everybody. Preseason, it was kind of good because preseason we got to work, and then the season was supposed to start. But another crazy thing that happened was this year in the Portugal League, like Americans have to get a certain document done besides their criminal record. So you get your criminal record, and then it got to be apostilled, which nobody knew what that was, So like even then, once you figure out what it is and how to do it, like it would still take like a month. So everybody was late. All the Americans were late doing that, and that's why the season got moved back.
Oh,
I know I shared that on
okay.
Facebook one
Yeah.
time, but it was in Portuguese. So,
Yeah.
Wow.
but so it just gave us more time to know each other, get to know each other's
Yeah.
strengths, weaknesses, chemistry and all that stuff.
Well, that's good.
Extra month for free meals and
Yeah. And then speaking of meals, I just kind of been writing a couple of things down. Like I seen a lot of your snaps, a lot of your pictures you posting you up early or looking as early that I think it is. And then I always food pics. I was like, what was your favorite food? Did you have a favorite food over there while you was over there? Or was you on a strict diet, or what they have you doing?
Gosh, I don't really have like a certain meal, but like they have this cod that they use, and there's like 1,100 different Portuguese dishes they make with the cod. Like different soups, just different types of dishes, and most of that was around my realm of what I liked was just
I
the
see.
cod, the fish.
No McDonald's or nothing like that over there?
Yeah, they got all that too.
Oh, they
but-
got that too?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Very good.
I
Then.
Ubered eat quite a bit too.
Oh, okay. Good.
that fish. That's a good choice too. For
Yeah.
athletes, fish and chicken,
Mhm.
turkey, stuff like that. Those are good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was saying he wasn't on a strict diet, but he tried to discipline himself on his diet all the
Oh,
time,
for
sure.
which is good. Like what do you say? Like a fruit in the morning, fruit and water. Coffee every once in a while.
Well, yeah, because the restaurant they had us on some pretty good meal plan, so I just fixed up some of my daily habits, and that was my diet. Drinking enough water. I'd eat a couple things of fruit in the morning after practice, and before I fell asleep would always eating fruit. So I noticed my body start changing too. as that was just a habit that I picked up and become more healthier. Because, you know, what I learned as a pro, like, no matter what you do, how hard you work in whatever areas, your diet, your body, your mental, there's another pro out there doing twice of what you're doing. Even if you think you're doing all you can, there's someone out there just on top of their stuff even more than you are.
So did they want you to gain any weight when you got out there? Like they try to when you're playing D1?
No, not really.
No?
Not in the pros, no. Like, you know, college is so like technical and stuff. Like coaches want a specific thing, like get your body weight over this or this. And some clubs they're different, like they will be like that. But pros, like if you're out there and you can do your thing, like coaches ain't gonna give you nothing, you know, not much anyways.
That's good.
Yeah,
And that too just depends on what coach you get to. But
Sure.
that's what I learned.
Cool.
All right, so let's kind of so the leagues got pushed back. You guys end up starting the league up. I know that even back here that we were getting links to that TV website and stuff like that your mom shared and everything like that. You know, and I know that we all were just like wondering like when's the season gonna start? When's he gonna do it? And once we started getting pictures and video clips stuff like that, we thought, oh, it's at full strength now. And then so maybe kind of tell us a little bit about how the league was set up. I remember you were saying it's not like the NBA where you play 2 or 3 games a week. So why don't you kind of just tell us about that league and then just bring us through that league. We got about a good 15-20 minutes left, just take your time, try to give us a good visual,
Yeah. So I mean, overseas ball, like each country is gonna have their own, leagues and stuff, but there's always like the top league and then there's leagues behind that. So in Portugal, I played in the top league, so that's like the NBA to them, but there's usually like 4 or 5 teams, well, like 3 or 4 teams that just have crazy amount of money that just kind of run the league every year, And I was at the kind of middle of the pack club,
Yeah.
But so each team, usually overseas teams can have like 1 or 2 imports, like Americans. You can bring Americans on, but in Portugal you can have 5 or 6. So that just makes the league, even more competitive because they bring in American guys and different guys from all over. But I mean, it's fun because the best players are usually, my position, which was like the 2 or the 3. So it was a really good challenge, just learning how to, because I never played the two guard before, but my coach, he told me, he's like, man, I think you can play the 2 and you can keep up with the faster guards. You can play a pick and roll, you can shoot, and you can. Another thing he liked was I'm 6'7", and I can guard pretty much 1 through 4,
Nice.
And so that was, and I kind of did that through college too, kind of played whatever, big guard. But playing the specific 2 at that level, like you gotta be on your stuff, you gotta be quick, you gotta be able to guard, you gotta be fast. So just learning that and being able to understand, more so the guard side of the game, and some guys are just, all you can do is just try, Some guys are so good at that level, like you can do everything perfect, move your feet, be in position, but say they just fade away and get it over you. It's like run back on D.
Yeah.
Go get one.
So a lot of those guys that you're talking about that probably you think there's like maybe they're better at that position or something. Why aren't they? Are there any of them getting looks to come back over and play in the NBA or anything?
It's crazy because there's so many hoopers out there, and Portugal is compared to other countries, like it's not a bad league. Like if you do good in this league, like you can get recognition and move up, but like you got to think there's Portugal, then there's like Spain, which is you're starting to get up higher in level, like closer to the NBA. Spain, you get to Serbia, you get to those teams, like then you move up to the Euro League, so that's behind the NBA. then Euro League, then usually Euro League, then you go to
You can go pro.
NBA. Yeah. So I mean, there's so many levels to the game of basketball. Like it just keeps going and keeps going. Whatever you think, you know, it's not really there. Like you don't know until you know go and figure it out. You know.
Yeah.
So that was eye-opening too. I mean, as a hooper, you always say that too. There's levels to this basketball game, but like, man, the levels get crazier and crazier
Yeah.
as you go.
That's pretty cool. I never
And,
knew
and,
that.
and that's cool to know, right?
Yeah.
Because you hear about those leagues, you hear, you know, maybe either in magazines or internet, you know, ESPN talk about different leagues, but they never really explain
Yeah,
that
exactly.
right there, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like.
Especially like the Euro League over there, you see some of those crazy crowds. Oh, that doesn't say. Maybe like especially that team that you guys played that last game. Maybe tell the listeners in B-Luv about how the crowds were and the size of the gyms and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, look, yeah, I knew it. I knew you wanted to know that.
So my little list I was asking
Yeah.
about, and then my last one was that hostile crowd.
Yeah. So I mean, over in Europe, like the basketball, like the crowd stuff, you know, that's crazy. But like in Portugal, they really get crazy about the soccer.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like there, like you play for clubs. Like if you're on a certain club, like I was Vitoria, and I'm out in Lisbon, you know, around some Benfica fans, like they're gonna see my stuff and like, it's just, like it might get a little iffy, but like they don't really show up to basketball games too much unless it's like playoffs or something like that. But our rival was Porto, and we played them at home, and it got pretty wicked because they didn't have too many people on their side. Start of the game, whatever, we were going kind of time out, and we're standing there waiting for game to start again, and there was like 30 dudes come in dressed in all black, come to their side, and they're just causing ruckus as soon as they get in the gym, like doing crazy stuff. So I'm like, all right. And then we start playing, and all you hear the whistles, and you look up, those guys ran over to our corner, and they were like about to start fighting and rioting and stuff. So they stopped the game, and there was only like 2 security guards there.
Wow.
But our side was packed though, so it looked crazy. There was like 20 guys here, but our side was just jam packed. So everybody started running to that corner, like, whoa. And so
You still had to play ball?
Huh?
Yeah, still had to play ball.
we stopped for about, I mean, it had to be like 30-40 minutes because they waited till the cops to show up. Like the cops rolled up, came in deep, got them all situated, got them kicked out. And then we ended up starting in Porto. They were like second in our league the whole year. You know, they're really good, a big club. We ended up getting them in double overtime.
Oh, there you go.
So it was
that,
nice.
And that team, that they're from that place where you were flying into, that they didn't want to come get you, or
Yeah.
No wonder. I don't want to go there. Well, there's a lot of fighting going on. I'm surprised that Waylon LaPlante wasn't up there trying to fight around Santee guys.
But I mean, the one you're talking about, the team we played in playoffs, Benfica, they're number 1. Like they're the biggest club in Portugal. But every time we went there, man, their crowd, we got in it with them every time.
Really?
You know? That's just how they were.
Well, the size of the gyms, though. So your guys' home court, what's the size of your guys' gym? Maybe compare it to one of the local gyms around here.
It's bigger than any gym around here, I would say.
Bigger than Tyson?
No, not Tyson. Well, I thought you meant Bagel.
Oh, okay. What
Smaller
about
than Tyson for sure.
what about let's see here.
I'm trying to think too.
The mini dome, maybe bigger than that?
It's probably pretty close, yeah.
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 Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I got another question.
What about the other team, that number 1 team? What's
They were
that?
bigger, but it wasn't crazy. Like, still, like, they care about soccer there. So, like,
Oh.
the basketball stuff is high tech, but it ain't crazy.
So I noticed like that page, that team that you're on, and then I follow them on Facebook and all that. So that's that club, is that what it's called? But they got all kinds of other sports there too, right? I mean, like I've seen women's basketball.
They
I
got
seen
they got a
volleyball,
lot
man.
of stuff there, yeah. They actually, when we first got there, we got to meet the water polo team. So we met them. It was just something they were doing to help people and get to know each other or whatever.
Sure.
met the water polo team. We got to get in the pool with them, kind of throw around a little bit.
Oh God.
I mean, I kind of scored on their goalie. Hear their whole team start cheering and stuff because our water polo team was like the best in Portugal. Like they were like really good. So I scored like twice, but every time, man, they start screaming, going crazy.
They couldn't see that you're standing at the bottom, probably. That's why.
That's what I always wondered. I was like, how deep is it? But like, I had to go under to touch, and then had to come back up. So like, makes sense.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of things like things like men's volleyball, women's volleyball. I've seen all kinds of things. Like, man, you just like
they got like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, taekwondo, handball.
I know
what
what.
handball.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
What do you
play
say?
before.
Professional handball?
Yeah. That's big in Europe too.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know one question you didn't ask and you didn't write down.
What?
This one right here.
I'm not gonna ask him that. I'll save that till we walk out.
Well, yeah. So
this one right here.
all right. So then, yeah, I know you just recently came home like a week and a half ago. And you kind of barely getting settled in. We had your big bro Chris on here, Coach Chris. He was on here kind of like giving us a little insight of like of what he thinks that you're going to be doing this summer with helping out with the youth, certain teams. We heard that you're going to be doing maybe some camps and a little bit of coaching and stuff like that. So maybe kind of fill us in on what your plans are for the summer.
Yeah. So right now, just like you said, settling in. But one thing about a pro is I got to make sure that I stay professional and stay in shape. So that's one thing that I'm making sure I do consistently, because if you just always got to be ready. You never know when you're going to get a call. But
Sure.
I mean, yeah, one thing on my plate this summer is just being in the gym with youth and local youth and stuff like that. Like I would definitely want to put on a couple of camps, maybe partner with some people and get a couple of camps going. But just for me, staying in shape, continuing to play. But now that I've learned at that level, maybe not so much this level, like just teaching some of the youth around here. Like I've been through college for 6 years at a high level, mid-major level, and then the little small levels too. So just trying to teach the youth, everything that I'm trying to teach, I've seen it. I've seen what coaches are looking for, what they want, how they want to, develop, what they want when they want to bring in, like what they're recruiting, what they want to see. So that's, when I'm in the gym with kids, that's kind of how I'm speaking, in a way that, is just helping them from what I've seen and what I've understand. Because, my years at South Dakota State, I was in the coach's office, almost every day, just learning and talking to coaches, seeing how things go behind the scenes. So, just getting them to understand that, I'm not, when I get on kids, I'm not trying to get on them to make them feel bad, but it's, what I've seen and what I'm trying to, help you prepare for if you really want to play, at the next level, or you want to be, play competitive or whatever it is,
A lot of the high school would soak a lot of that up.
Yep.
You can know that. When you get to the smaller ones, though, you don't want to hit them with all that. I think.
Yeah.
That
Right.
might scare 'em
Exactly.
away. You might
Yeah.
scare them away, like you don't want that.
But then see, it goes back to like we talked about before about the process. When we talked about that
Yep.
with Natasha
Yep.
about the process. I mean, Dave can teach those older boys stuff that they can comprehend at this
Yeah.
level because he it wasn't too long ago,
Mm-hmm.
but he's got little nephews and nieces and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So he can also bring himself down. Maybe not talk about all that stuff right there.
Yeah.
But use it. Still use what he learned
Oh, for
to,
sure.
to tell them all the stuff
sure.
they need to know about that because, hey, he knows what junior high coaches are looking for too. So he, and then it just seems like the platform. When I say the platform, I'm talking about David Winget. The platform that when you talk around these kids, like they're like we already said it before, they're listening, but they're taking all that in. David Winget told me this that one time.
Yeah.
Get home, Mom. Dad, David Winget told me this at this one time. You know, those kinds of things. You know, so when you talk, you know, those things that you say, just remember that they're gonna
Yeah.
enter those in and save those in their
Exactly.
hard drive. You know,
Yep.
their brains. So I know you're doing a real good job already. So I'm really kind of excited to see what's gonna happen this summer. You know, so.
I'd like to see him up on the sidelines too, hauling around at some of the high school boys. I want to go check that out when that time comes. So
Yeah. And for me, definitely something that's been on my mind, you know. I don't know if I'm ever, you know, going to play again, but, you know, I still got my agent who's working. I'm staying in shape, staying ready. But, you know, what I really want to do is start coaching, you know. That's something that, you know, I'm always, as a player, I'm always trying to get better and work on my craft. But, you know, I've always been preparing the last few years, you know, working on my coaching mentality and, you know, what I would do if I did start coaching right now. So, I mean, you never know. So,
So I don't think it'll be a big thing either if you come back home and do it. You know, we're still trying to get Matthew down there. Get you guys doing them, getting them. You know, even with Chris's, how Chris looks at the game. I talked to him. We talked about it one time. How Chris talks about the game. He's a real smart. You know, IQ wise, he's pretty good. He knows what to say. You know, so
that's who taught me a lot of stuff
Exactly.
growing up. So, you know,
Yeah.
I trust him,
Sure.
you know, like crazy. And like he was saying earlier, I wouldn't say a lot of this stuff to like the younger
little ones,
kids.
yeah.
And that's, you know, where my brother Chris comes in, because he's just really, really good with the younger kids and coaching them up and, you know, teaching that mentality and confidence. And he's awesome at that stuff. Like, you guys know him, and
Yeah.
his knowledge for the game is just,
Yeah, and then even your brother Matthew, he's down in Lincoln or Elkhorn doing
Yeah,
his thing down
yeah,
there too.
yeah.
I talked to him last weekend down there when he was down there, and he told me he has I think a 16U team that's pretty good. So your tournament coming up, you might want to invite him. And say, well,
DJ plays for his 16.
yeah. Oh, he
yeah.
does. Yeah, that's right. Yep. Oh yeah, he did say that. He said
plays-
DJ's kind of killing it.
Play some hoops, you know.
Yeah. So
And one thing that one thing I'm gonna say real fast, like too. We got a few minutes here, and we can go over a couple minutes if we need to, you know. But about basketball being able to take you places that you wouldn't even imagine going. You would never dreamed of going, you know. And David's a perfect example of that, you know. And we talked to Natasha, said the same thing with her last week, you know. And it does, these sports, you know, we're talking about basketball today, but the basketball, you know, you treat it right, it'll take you all over places. It'll get you to meet people you never thought you'd meet. You know, I got a picture of you and Jason Tatum in my office, you know, and those kinds of things, you know. And speaking of taking you places, basketball taking you places, talk about Hawaii real fast. Like.
oh yeah, that's right. Let's get it.
But I'm also gonna visit with you a little bit about like camps that you say you wanted to try to do, and you want to try to partner up. We can talk about that too, along with the Warpath boys that I'm gonna talk about real fast. Like, so just for the listeners, real quick, like our high school Warpath basketball boys here from Winnebago, they're gonna be competing in an all native basketball tournament out in Hawaii on August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And we're going to be doing in the next couple months a lot of fundraising efforts. And this coming Friday, I know we're starting our fundraising, and we'll be out to the farmers market out there selling some food. So if you guys are hungry, you guys stop out for some pozole, corn soup, and fry bread. But you know, it's just one of the fundraising efforts we're going to be doing in the next couple months to try to get these boys, help them pay their expenses out to Hawaii out there. It's going to be a three-day basketball tournament, and yeah, it's going to be an expensive one. So we're trying to raise as much money as we can. So if you guys see that any of the flyers, you know, come down to support. If you can't support, just do me a quick favor and hit that share button and send it out to your buddies, or put it on your Facebook wall, you know. So yeah, that'll be coming up this Friday, like I said. So high school Warpath boys, and so then, like I said, there's going to be a couple opportunities this summer for basketball camps and clinics like that. So I'm going to get with you, and we'll try to plan something out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to try to put a bug in everybody's ears of what we were talking about earlier about trying to get them all the 10-year anniversary? You want to try to
Well,
talk about
yeah,
that now?
we could just throw the idea out there, just the idea of floating around in the studio. You know, back in 2015, a whole decade ago, you know, as everybody knows, Winnebago, brought home state championship after so long, and it's something that we celebrated, and we kind of continue on being proud of that and celebrating about that. But since it's the 10-year, we was kind of thinking about throwing something together, maybe trying to get the state basketball champion team over here, some of the guys who can make it, over to the studio, or try to make something maybe bigger and do a 10-year reunion, and actually do that reunion live on our show. So that's kind of the idea. We're going to kind of throw it around here in the office and see what we can come up with. But if you guys have any kind of comments on that, or
ideas or
anything like that, and you'll send them to the Big Voice Facebook page, and we'll try to get those ideas out there as we talk about it too. So
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, hey B-Luv, it looks like our time is up. I want to say thank you, David, for coming in here. Telling us your story. I know that we really just took a whole bunch of years and scrunched them all into 1 hour. And I know that we have a lot more that we can talk about. But just want to say thank you for sharing what you did with us, about everything that you've been up to recently, and then kind of giving us an update on how you got to where you're at right now. Just want to say I'm really proud of you.
Yep.
Proud of you from myself, from Auntie Jess, and all the kids, all the grandkids. But B-Luv?
Yeah, same thing, Dave. Like I said, you're one of the ones that we talk about a lot on here. You and we always mention names. And you and Diami are like two that we always kind of talk about. There's other people out there, other athletes out there, but just ones that you guys we're everybody's just so proud of you guys on what you guys doing, accomplishing, and continue to do for your community and the nation, our native nation and stuff that's been following you. So proud of you. Yeah, just keep up good work, and hopefully, like I said, we'll see you on the sideline at some of these games.
Yeah, for sure.
And DJ Bestme, she wants to grab the mic for a few minutes. She has something to say here.
Kind of like the Morgan Freeman style, narrating over. No, but we had a commenter here, and I wanted to read it to David. Darla K. McKee. She said, forever a fan. She was admiring how all grown up you are and so intelligent and humble. She was laughing about the halter top. And then she also said, and so you kind of answered it with the guys' questions. She was asking what you're up to now, what your plans are. And she said, we are all so proud of you here in Bagel.
She was the one, do you know who she is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you heard her real loud on that one when Cedar hit that 3-pointer against her. And then she was right there on that video that was her. She was really screaming and looked like she's ready to faint over there. She's so happy. Yeah. That's Darla.
And she's still at all the games too.
Yeah.
All the games.
Good lady.
Loves Winnebago.
Appreciate her support. She's always there cheering and stuff. So
Nurse
that's
Julie,
awesome.
Julie and her husband too.
Yep.
Vaughn.
And you know who I haven't seen at the games, and I haven't even seen around a while. Paco. Where's Paco hiding at?
I think Paco's in love,
He's
bro.
still hugged up.
Yeah,
I'm still
in
in
the honeymoon stage. Oh, all right. Here we go. Hey, Dave, I'm gonna give you the mic. Maybe you want to say a few things before we end the show here.
No, I just want to appreciate you guys bringing me on. You guys do a good job. I was, you guys usually go on at 5 here.
Yeah.
So I would tune in sometimes, be like 11 o'clock there just before I went to bed. So just want to shout you guys out. You guys do a good job. I like tuning in whenever I did here. But yeah, I think you guys just all do a good job, and I appreciate you guys for bringing me here today.
You got any shout outs before we head out?
You just did. Shout out to us, fool.
Oh, I know.
My mom, my dad, brothers, all the fam, all the fans for the support.
Yes, indeed. All right.
Good job, bro.
All right. Well, thank you again, Dave, for giving us that time. It is time to end the show. B-Luv.
All right, let's get there.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to 100.9 FM. This is KWTN, the Big Voice Radio. Another episode of the show. you.